My people, what up, though? We back with another episode of All Black Men Need Therapy. My name is Chief.
And I'm Bell.
My name is Prentice.
And here we go, y'all. We back into it. Now, we going to jump right off into it because homie done got us all a little bit tight. I know y'all been in tune with what's going on with the whole Derrick Jaxn drama, saga, whatever. P, break down. So for the people who aren't familiar with it, break down what happened, and then we'll get into the whole, you know what I'm saying?
So I personally feel like if you're on social media or have a phone, there's no way you haven't heard about it. But just a little background. Derrick Jaxn is a self-proclaimed relationship expert who has built his brand off of giving women, specifically Black women, advice on behalf of righteous Black men, which he considers himself to be. He typically uses and labels men in 2 to 3 categories, one being this exceptional category, and the other 2 being the throwaway type of niggas. And he tells women often what they should and should not do and how much leeway they should and should not give them men, which is from him typically very little, if any at all. And he's made a brand off of giving this relationship advice while also establishing the term Black men don't cheat to represent himself and his ideology.
Is that where that came from? I thought Charlemagne and Lil Duval made that up.
They may have made that up, but that brother took it, put it on shirts, and definitely advocates the whole idea is that Black men do not cheat.
Wow. That's kind of there's some irony there, huh?
Right. So that's what Derrick Jaxn, that's who he is. Now, what happened over the past couple of days, some of the women that he's dealt with throughout the past, since he's been married and before, have come out and shared their stories on his hypocrisy.
Wait, so was there only one woman? I mean, was it more?
Bro. There's 2 that I've heard. There's 2 that I've heard talk about.
I only heard about one. Well, I shouldn't say that. He in his apology. Response, right? Yeah, because response is a better word, not apology. But his response, he made it. It was plural, like it was more than just one. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But the day before, he was saying that what the woman was saying wasn't true, even though she got pictures of being in his crib. She could describe his house. She got text message. I mean, they got receipts, bro. You know what I mean? So he was lying the day before, and then he got on. He's been going crazy the past 24 hours on lives with his wife, holding her hand, clenching her hand tight, taking absolutely no accountability while she looks absolutely broken.
He was about to break her damn fingers when he was gripping that damn hand so hard. So Derrick Jaxn has 1.3 million followers.
He got 200,000 followers over the past 48 hours.
No shit. So people still like.
But you know, bad news travels faster, man. We want to watch the train wreck.
Right.
I do. I'll be the first one. I will be the first one to say I got a VIP seat.
You follow him? You follow him, P?
I haven't liked this nigga since I discovered him, but and I make no qualms about this shit. No qualms about this shit. I have not liked this nigga. He's one of those niggas where if you all right, we gonna keep it all the way real on this podcast. If you a real nigga, you see through his bullshit ASAP. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like he's one of those niggas who he gets up and talks about your man playing Xbox out the house. Or this man, if he's with you for 2 years and he's not marrying you, you need to leave him. Keep in mind, he was with his now wife for 12 years before marrying her and was cheating the whole time. You know what I'm saying? This cat got penthouses where he brings chicks through the smash while making these videos about how men ain't shit. So my whole thing with Derrick Jaxn is he's built a brand off of putting down Black men while pandering broken Black women, only for us to find out that he is the same as, if not worse than, the Black men he's been talking down on. And his wife is more broken than a lot of the women who take his advice.
So I got a couple of things to say. First of all, Chief, I keep looking at you. What the fuck is different about your face? What is did your teeth whiter? Did you cut your mustache? Something's different. The fuck
I did shave a mustache last week.
So. Oh, okay. And then what the fuck is your stash?
What the fuck is your stash? Shout out to Deion Cole.
Yeah, I knew there was something going on. And I kept looking at you. I'm like, with the butt naked face.
They're washing his face with toilet paper.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Nah, I was trying to shave it up and nicked it, so I just shaved it off. I shaved it lighter. I ain't shaved it all the way off.
We get it. We get it, nigga. We get it. Anyway. So here's my thing with him. So a couple things, a couple truths for me. So you, Prentice, you sent this to us whenever it broke, right?
Right.
And I'm not gonna lie, like I had to look him up again. And here's the only reason why I say that. I knew who he was, but like you, the first video I've ever seen of him, I'm like, yo, come on, like, we're not doing this, right?
Right.
So I didn't realize, like I didn't realize the level this motherfucker grew to. Like I didn't realize like he had a brand. Like I watched the first video years ago, or whenever, it was a while ago. It was something big that happened. It was something big that happened from a relationship standpoint, from some famous couple or something. And he had a lot to say about it. He was in his car, doing it. Like again, it was in the beginning. And so it was years ago. Anyway, I never paid him no mind after that because I'm like, yo, I almost looked at him as like this is a good analogy, and it may rub some people the wrong way, but this is my podcast. We can do what we want to do.
Right.
I almost looked at him as like the black avid Trump supporter. Right? Like that's the category I put him in, where it's like
one of the niggas you just dismissed.
It's like, yo, you don't represent us. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the bucket I put him in. And to be 1,000,000% honest, not that I started following him or nothing like that, but me catching up on his content came within the last 12 hours. You know what I'm saying? Like prior to me seeing him the first time, or after me seeing him the first time. So I never took him serious, is what I'm saying. And I think this is the type of shit that happens to people like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Good point. And I'm a little bit, I felt the same way, but I gave him the benefit of the doubt in a sense that if he was abiding by the rhetoric in which he speaks, he actually drops a few solid gems every now and then. You know what I'm saying? And then, so I'm like, okay, I never cared to follow him or be an active supporter. I saw like when every now and then he'd have a post that went viral, and I might catch wind of it via Shade Room or something like that. You know what I'm saying? And I would watch it and be like, all right, what? And never thought twice about it. But it seemed like, solid advice from a good black dude, I guess. You know what I'm saying? I didn't catch one of the ones where he was berating and bashing the fellas after or before I did, some research behind it. So I kind of gave him the benefit of doubt. Again, I wasn't compelled enough to follow him and support him, but I kind of, I guess, respected what he had to say because at whatever one I listened to was like, oh, okay, well, brother making a point. All right, cool.
Right.
Keep the party going. And then to see what has transpired over the past 72 hours is like, bruh, if this was anybody else, he would be dragging them through the streets.
Right.
Dragging them through the streets. And please tell me one today, bruh's talking for about 7 minutes in third person the whole time.
No, so I didn't see that one, but Charlemagne played it on the Breakfast Club with the Donkey of the Day. And when
rightfully so.
and he played it, and he prefaced it. He's like, anybody who speaks about themselves in the third person is a bona fide narcissist, right? 100%. And he went through the whole thing like Charlemagne does, and he prefaced it after the video played, or it wasn't the video, it was audio. After the audio played, he then reiterated what he said. And I'm listening to it. I'm like, wait, was that him talking about him?
Right. You didn't even sound like it, right?
I'm like, it was baffling to me, because I'm like, the length that he went to speak in third person would be like me speaking about somebody else completely. Like a casual conversation about me referring to someone else who I came across. That's how it came off.
Not even a hint of I, me, nothing. It was all in he, and I'm like,
it was like an out of body experience. Like he was like it was crazy.
Exactly what it was.
I'm like, this is ill.
And the cold part is, what inspired him to do that video in third person was all the criticism he was receiving from the video with he and his wife, and how he was talking about himself in third person while holding his wife's hand, attempting to explain that he made some type of mistake. So the criticism for how he handled that video with his wife somehow in his head led to him sitting back in his car and then creating that whole 8-minute video of speaking in third person while taking absolutely no accountability for his behavior or actions, and siding with his wife and siding with her thoughts and opinions, which he doesn't do when it comes to other men. You get what I'm saying? So he gave himself so much more leeway in this third person response than he gives any other man who would be in his exact same situation.
He didn't own it. He didn't own
no accountability whatsoever. Yeah. And that was my thing.
He didn't even apologize.
Right.
No.
Right.
No.
And he ran around in circles about it. Yo, my question is this, real before we keep dragging this motherfucker. Do y'all think there's a strategic element behind this? Do you think this could have been set up?
Yeah, he about to get rich, fam.
He is, but I mean, a couple of days ago, he said he buried his. He was in the car saying he just was at his father-in-law's funeral burying him, and at the end of the video, he was like, "Buy my book." You know what I'm saying? So I absolutely. I mean, what he's doing right now is still selling product. He's promoting his book at the end of that video. You know what I'm saying?
Listen,
so
he gets paid for streams, bro. Right? So it's like I don't want to say he's winning, but he's winning. You know what I mean? Like here, I have two issues with this man. Two issues based on current circumstances. I have more issues with him in general, but two issues based on current circumstances.
How you got beef with a nigga you don't even know?
Hey, nigga, I feel like he slid in my girl's DMs, but that's how personally attacked I am.
That's next level. That's next level.
Oh shit.
Here's my here's my immediate issue. My immediate issue with him is this. Like, you're worse than the men that cheat on their women.
Boom.
Right? You're worse because they don't go around pontificating how they're such good men. Right? Like if they do what they do, they do what they do. Right?
In silence.
They do what they do. They're not over here bashing other men. They're not over here speaking like they're holier than thou, right? So you're worse. That's one. Two, I'm stealing this point from Charlemagne. So he made a really good point. He's like, you're dragging your wife into this bullshit, right? Like, and I don't follow him. My most recent experience with him is as of last 12 hours, like I said. But Prentice, maybe you can answer this question. How often, when he's going on these tirades, is his wife in that video? Like pre the last 48 hours?
All right, the answer to that is never.
Okay.
Never. He has never put his wife or his children on. A lot of his viewers didn't know he was even married, but his wife is not a part of his brand. And that's strategic within itself.
So that was all I needed to hear, right? You did all this bullshit at, she's the one that's having to deal with it. And then you're going to pull her into it, like from an optical standpoint, right? So people can see. And it's like, that's selfish as fuck, bro. Like, that's selfish as fuck. Like Will and Jada, right? They're both two big figures, two big personalities, all that. Like, and I'm not saying that this is the same thing, but what I am saying is it's like you built your brand, you built your platform, you personally, and you built it on the premise of how well you treat your woman, right?
Absolutely.
And how good, how morally sound you are and all these things. So it's like, nah, nigga, when you done fucked up, don't try to bring her in for what's the word I'm looking for? For sympathy. Right. Nah.
I mean, his wife becomes the emotional support dog. Like,
but that just speaks to the type of level of dude this is.
Right.
You know I think not only that, but now what's happened that his wife is going on her own rants and tirades and it's saying how she feels on her page. And if you look, and this is where it goes from like making fun of this dude to just talking shit, that's what he gets, to really getting serious. If you look at his wife's page, she is giving her testimony and she's all tied into God. And it's these stories of how she's had to deal with him cheating on her with friends of hers, women she's known, women she hasn't known, and how she found herself obsessing over these women her husband has been cheating with, drinking bottles of alcohol, stalking their pages because she's wondering what they have that she doesn't. So now we're getting insight into, yeah, although she's talking all this God and Jesus talk, this woman is damaged, bro. Like it's almost as if she's leaning on her faith to convince herself that she's not broken. And he's allowing her to do this.
Yo, my man said, I gave myself to Christ and then my life fell apart. So I blame him. Or some shit like that, he said.
He said, that's exactly what he said.
I said, are you serious, bro? I'm like
so
God's son did this? Like
right.
Wow.
Is Shorty wrong if she doubles back and returns the favor? And how does he respond in that moment? Does he then practice what he preaches?
Well, we got to be real. That's not his circumstances, man. And if we keeping it real with that, she makes sense to me now. Like, she makes complete sense why he's married to her. You get what I'm saying? She is the exact demographic of women he targets. Women who are emotionally broken, who have been just abused emotionally by their partners. So he has the perfect prototype at home to kind of look at, to know who he's catering to. She's not going to cheat on him, bro. You know how those women, those easy women, but she was the smart choice. You get what I'm saying? A woman who you could marry, a woman who you could cheat on, who's going to forgive you, who's forgiven you before, and now is so steadfast in her faith that she's telling the world there's nothing any of y'all can do about our marriage and relationship, and all of y'all are the ones who are the problem. We got it over here. So to even put the situation of, if she returns the favor, he's too smart for that. He picked the right one who's not going to return the favor. You get what I'm saying?
So, I've been watching. Go ahead, Chief. No, I've been watching a lot of the memes, and first of all, them shits are hilarious. They are absolutely
Mr. Commodore's video.
They are absolutely frying my man on social media.
he said doing other things as far as eating ass.
But then they frying one. They had a picture with him with the Michael Jordan face and this girl with the bonnet on. They called him Bonnet and Clyde. That shit was funny. But like one of the ladies compared it to, and God bless his soul, you know what I'm saying? But they compared it to Kobe and his wife when Kobe was cheating, and how his wife got on TV with him and was holding his hand. But they was like, Kobe's wife was all flat. You know, she got dialed up for the interview. Do you think that it was strategic on his behalf to have his wife come out here with the bonnet on, looking all crazy for something he knew would go viral? Like, don't you want to portray your wife in the best circumstances, or do you want her to, again, P? He picked the right one. So do y'all even think that was strategic? I just feel like this is all a marketing tool for this dude, yo.
Yo, I feel like I feel like that was wrong.
Of him?
Like,
Oh, yeah.
Hell
yeah.
Like that nigga look like he a barber chair, bud.
Yeah, like he wasn't like dressed to the nines, but he was very, very presentable. Like he could go out to what he had on was respectable in any venue.
Right.
What she had on wasn't.
But he looked like he pulled her out the corners, like,
yes.
come on, let's get on this video.
Yeah. And the one thing I'll challenge you though, Prentice. The one thing I don't want to speak to that woman's I guess character, because I don't know. I know the type. I know exactly what you described. I know that is a real thing. I don't want to, because the only reason why I'm kind of coming to her defense, just for the purpose of this conversation, is because she's been having to defend herself a lot. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think that's fair.
It's not.
I don't think that's fair. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to. And hey, she could be everything you said, like 100%. But I'm gonna reserve judgment only because the only reason why we're having this conversation is because of her hypocritical ass husband, right?
Right.
You
Yeah,
know
I'm not critiquing her at all. You know what I'm saying? Like within the jokes, there's some shit that's funny, but when you really dissect it all, there's nothing funny about her circumstances.
Yeah, like I'm with the jokes. So let me be clear. Like I'm great with the jokes. I guess what I'm saying is I'm just not like, I don't know. Like I do know that like narcissist men, they 1,000,000% have a type. Like a narcissist man couldn't be with my wife, right? Because she's just too fucking, like, one, she's Latina. Two, she's just headstrong. She's smart. Like she's not going to be submissive in short, right? So they do have a type. The only thing I know, I'm talking in circles. The only thing I'll say is, like, she's the victim, right? She's the victim, and I want to be very clear about that to our listeners. She's definitely the victim. I think he's a piece of shit of a dude, not because he cheated, right? Because everybody on this podcast has cheated at some point, period, right?
Black men don't cheat.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, but that was before it was cool. We was cheating. You know, we ain't cheat since then. But the difference between us then and him now is, like I said before, it's like we not up here doing all this dirt and then preaching. You know what I'm saying? It's like that's the part that really, and it's not even the preaching part. It's like, man, you bashing us, bro. Like you bashing us. Like that's the part that gets me. Like that's why every time on this podcast we always say, we preface it by saying we're not speaking for all Black men. Like you got to be careful with that, right? Like you can't. And I feel like a lot of his rhetoric, he generalizes. He generalizes a lot. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yo, and now look at you. You know what I'm saying? So anyway,
I think the proof of his character has been in his responses. You know what I mean? Like my thing, if you're gonna cheat, bro, you cheat, you do whatever it is you're gonna do. Prime example, when I was cheating in my past relationship, I could never write a poem about a motherfucker who was cheating.
Yes.
In the light of he's wrong, what he's doing isn't right, because I know what I'm doing. So morally, I can't create art or work that I know No. You know, I think we do things that are hypocritical subconsciously at times, but there are certain things that I know I have no leg to stand on within my art or my craft. You get what I'm saying?
You're literally living a lie, right?
So do your thing, but to be a Black man and put down Black men in the process and manipulate and con Black women to profit while you manipulate and con the Black woman at home, I have no respect for that. And that's what it comes down to. I don't have respect for anybody who puts down Black people, especially Black men and women. Well, there's only two. But to be a Black man and to do it so successfully, and then in your response, you lack accountability. You still put out, oh, she wanted to do this, or, you know, we've been working on it, or I may have or may not have done. There's no accountability on your part.
So little does he little does he know, homie, like let down all the black men. Like, even though the cats who ain't rocking with him, like, he got us all out here looking crazy because he was trying to present himself as the ideal type of black man.
Yeah. And people believed it.
Right.
Yeah.
You got a million people investing in believing in your story. You know, so I'm just watching the Ryan Davis joint, and it said he's talking about how a real man doesn't deflect, doesn't defer, doesn't try to neutralize his wrongs. And then the next thing he says is like, I know the things she's done, but she didn't make me do what I did.
Exactly. There's this desire for him to place some of the responsibility or blame on his wife in one way or another. And that's that bitch shit that I don't like.
Yo, it's like you gotta own your shit, yo. Like,
got to.
When I wasn't shit, like I was very clear. Like look, yo, I ain't shit. Like we used to have a running joke, yo. We used to have a running joke where if we met a girl that was bad, had a lot going for her, we used to literally say, I'm like, yo, she at me, yo, but I don't want to fuck this girl life up.
Right.
Like, literally. Like, that's what we say to each other. And not that we were bad men, like in terms of like gonna abuse them or anything like that. Nah, we was just gonna be out, right? We was gonna be doing our thing, and we knew that they was gonna fall in love to some level, and we weren't ready for that. You know what I'm saying? And that used to be a running joke that we used to say, I don't want to fuck this girl life up. You know what I'm saying?
And then still do some dumb shit.
You know what I'm saying?
Do some dumb shit and end up almost fucking it up.
Yeah, but it's like, but we were very, like, we lived in that space. Like, we lived in our truth. You know what I'm saying? At that time. And it's like.
And the crazy part about it is, and maybe, I don't know if his wife is in this zone, but the crazy part about it is, but like, in living in that truth, we were very upfront. Like, listen here, we can kick it, but I ain't shit. Like, you know this, right?
I ain't shit, and you're gonna fall in love,
right?
And then you're gonna see, like,
then you're gonna see.
You know what I'm saying? Like it was very, like me and my wife joke, right? Because both of us wasn't shit, like prior to getting together.
In the pod.
Right. That's why we were such good friends. Like we were friends for a while. You know what I'm saying? And we would mess around here and there, but we were just like really, really cool. So what happens when you get really cool with people, you find out about what's going on in their life. You know what I'm saying? And you like, oh, damn, like you really ain't shit. Like, you know, like when you get confirmation, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But again, it's like we knew what it was. Like when we first got together, we was like, look, like we understand like where we come from. So we have to really be hyper vigilant around what we do. You know what I'm saying? And it sounds like he knew what the fuck he was doing. But he's still spewing this nonsense to us, right? For the masses. And then it's crazy because he's like the dude, he's like the dude that was selling subprime mortgages. You know what I'm saying? He's preaching it like, yeah, this is the best thing. It's the best thing. Meanwhile, you ain't got no subprime mortgage, bro. You got a 30-year fix, but you out here selling all this shit to us.
You know but I said that he were. Derrick Jaxn makes me wonder if the nigga from the DeVry College commercials even passed 6th grade.
Get off the couch. Get
up. Nigga, you ain't doing shit. You just sitting there. You ain't doing shit. And imagine if you found out that nigga didn't make it past 6th grade. Telling your ass that you ain't shit. You need to stop watching TV. You need to stop being at home, being safe first and fucking foremost. You ain't cheating at the house. You're watching Maury Povich, but you need to get your ass off the feet. By the way, I ain't made it past 6th grade. Like, people, what? How do you get the gumph to do it? But again, it goes back to being narcissistic. But I think when you have that type of mentality, I mean, the world is your oyster, and you can manipulate people's minds like that. But that shit is dangerous.
True. So completely off topic, but just in that essence, did y'all niggas hear that the CEO of the vaccine hasn't taken the vaccine yet?
No, but I'm not surprised.
Like, come on, B. Like Derrick Jaxn Jr. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, fam. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on with that, B.
Like, that's crazy.
But that's like, are you surprised though? Like, bro, the pharmaceutical industry is the biggest racket of them all.
Yeah.
Like you talking about shady characters, man. Like in industry, like it don't get no more shadier than the pharmaceutical industry. Like that shit is crazy. No, so I'm not surprised because you got to think, Chief, he ain't manufactured the shit.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like he's running the company. Like he ain't doing the research and all of that, and he ain't in the R&D labs and all of that. Like he running a company. So
nigga said I didn't want to cut the line. What?
Wow.
That's what he said.
Like it's the same with these relationship gurus, man. You don't know what they're doing behind closed doors. I made a marriage look great for years. Y'all will never know some of the shit that popped off behind closed doors. You know what I'm saying? So while I was hashtagging Black love and representing all this righteous shit, I was wilding. You know what I'm saying? So it's all medicine that you're selling to people, and I think his hustle. I mean, you got to give it to him on his hustle. I don't commend him at all, but his hustle seems to be more important than his character. He just found the right way.
Bro, like he's a con artist.
Yeah.
Like let's call it what it is, man. He's a con. He's the same dude selling you the Fugazi Rolex on the block. It's the same thing. It's not like there's no differentiator, right? Like you're a con artist, whether you're conning. You're whatever you like. You're like the was the Eddie Murphy movie, the Distinguished Gentleman, when he convinced everybody that he was a congressman. It's like, no, bro, you're a con artist. Like you are the Distinguished Gentleman. Like you are the Eddie Murphy, right? It's a con. That's all it is. It's a con.
So what happened? What happens now though? First, like I was just thinking about just how like, and I don't see it much from you. I know Prentice, you do it, but in terms of like, I just feel like bad for his shorty. Like she wasn't a part of nothing until the world finds out he did this dirt. Like,
but to Prentice's point, she about to come up off this too, though. Like, and I don't know if this was manufactured. I'm not saying it was or it wasn't, but she about to get paid too, bro. Like she about to get paid too. You know what I'm saying? Like
if she was smart, she'd go for that paper. She got a lot of ground to come up.
It's like because if not, then it's all in vain. Right? Like if you're not going to gain nothing from this, then it's all in vain. It's like you wasting your time, especially if you ain't going to leave them. If you ain't going to leave them, I'm not saying you shouldn't, but if you ain't going to leave them, you better come up off this.
What's she going to be on Wendy Williams trying to get her gossip on? I mean,
like, bro, think about all the shit that she can do, like streams, right? Like her followers, all of that shit, like book deals, right? Like all kinds of stuff she can do. Like, I'm sure there's some bullshit that was said in that interview that she can trademark and put on a t-shirt. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I'm sure he already owns it.
Yeah,
he
man.
Already owned it, though.
There's so many ways to monetize that. It's like, think about it, right? Like he built his life on monetizing his bullshit. Why shouldn't she?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
It brought up an interesting, like, just kind of thought that I haven't necessarily ironed out, but it's the concept of how I'm not a Christian, so you know I don't claim to know the Bible at all. But it's interesting to me how sometimes we gravitate to God when we're wrong, and it seems even less sincere. You know what I'm saying? Like,
because they almost get overzealous with it, and not that shout out to the Bible thumpers or whatever, but like it was real. They were real heavy on the God in this terms. Like, where was where was God when was y'all working on this godly thing before then? It's like he's gotten right with God, and he's talking about, oh, God did this to him. Like, come on, B. Like,
my nigga, that's a reflex response, bro.
Yeah,
that's a reflex response. That's all it is.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you can pull out the God card and get some motherfuckers on your side.
Yeah.
If you talk God, enough. But I feel like it makes a mockery out of that religion. That's my thing. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I won't put on the religion. I think it makes more so a mockery out of him.
Yeah, but he's using the religion to do it. That's why I say I feel like he's making he's exploiting the purpose of the religion, right? The purpose of religion is to give you guidance and lead you down a righteous path, whatever your religion is, right? Like that's the purpose of, well, from what I gather, the purpose of religion, to give yourself guidance to live a righteous path. But when you then pull the righteous path out after living wrong as fuck, we supposed to believe that, you know what I'm saying? That
Right.
God did all these things.
Hey, do you know if in any of his sermons he referenced God, or was it all relationship and this, that, and the third? Like, can you recall any time like hearing him reference God in his hundreds and thousands of posts?
I can't, but that's because I don't like the nigga. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not checking for him mentioning God at all. But like, I just don't. I don't like him or his messages or anything he stands for. So he may have, but I know he heavy on him now.
Nah, but that's the thing, though, right? It's like, if that's where he's rooted, that's where he's grounded, it's gonna come up. It would have came up. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
That's where he's grounded. You know what I'm saying? Like this podcast is grounded on therapy. So therapy tends to come up, right? Like in some way, shape, or form, it comes up, right? We may not explicitly say therapy, but we talk about the premise and why it's important. So if that's who he is, right? Like for instance, I'm a nigga, right? At the end of the day. So my nigga tendencies come out from time to time, right? Like that's just what happens. They come out. So because that's who I am, right? I'm polished now, right? Like I'm educated and all of that, but that's where I'm grounded. So some of that stuff comes out. So if that's where he was grounded, you wouldn't have to ask if you've ever heard it before. It would be implied explicitly and otherwise.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
great point.
I don't buy that. I don't buy that. It's a reflex response. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
but to Prentice's point where he made it earlier, like he's mastering it because he's got what 200,000 followers in the past day or so, and like he's mastering the game right now in terms of monetizing his build.
I don't know that he's mastering it. I don't know that he's mastering it. I don't know that he's doing that. I think what he's doing is he's soaking it up. Like, it's not, think about it. This is a hot topic, right?
You capitalize on the moment, correct?
Yeah, it's not hard. Anything he said would have went viral. Anything. Doesn't matter what he said. He just was so generous to us to give us a lot of content. You know what I'm saying? Like the stuff that he was saying, he just gave us a lot of content, and it went maybe faster than it maybe would have gone otherwise.
My nigga, when was the last time you spoke about yourself in third person for 7 minutes? Yo, that is just insane to me, yo. That's insane to me.
No.
And he did it with, it was just funny how he did it with so much ease, but like he literally took himself out of himself.
Yeah, but that lets you know that this is not his first time. Like, this is just what he does. Like, bruh, like, you sound crazy.
Yeah,
he does.
You know, they say, you know, they say he had one of the women who spoke say he got a penthouse downtown. You know what I'm saying? That's where you go to knock him down. You know what I mean? So he got his whole setup of how he functions. You know what I mean? Like it was working for him until it wasn't.
That's just so crazy to me, yo. Like that is so crazy. Like,
it's wild because, and the wildest thing about it to me is that the way he puts down men to no level he's gone to successfully keep his rhythm and routine going. You know, there's a woman who says that, you know, he forced her to have an abortion, like all these things that are now coming up, and you realize how he has to construct his life in order to make it work. And you listen to how he speaks about other men who aren't whole or complete or who are flawed. It's like, bro, you put in more work than most of the niggas you talk about to be trash.
And that's it right there, P. That's it right there. It's like, yo, I can't respect you, bro.
At all.
I can't respect you. Like, if I'm being 100% real, I'm mad that we giving him this much attention on our show.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm being real, but we got to talk about it, right? Like it is what it is. Like we have to talk about it.
So I think by giving him this attention, it becomes an overall integrity check for every person listening.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like this dude lacks integrity, B. Like to his core.
Yeah, it's like this, right? I just struggle with him because, like, let's just say, assume all three of us are in relationships, like with women, right? And whatever, right? We're gonna lie at some point, right? We're gonna lie at some point.
About something.
About something. We're going to lie. It is a fact, right? I don't feel like that makes us have less integrity. What I feel like makes us have, or what I feel like makes us be a piece of shit, is if we shun those who lie to their wives or their significant others, or we berate our significant other when she lies to us. Like, that's the differentiator. Like that piece, right? It's like, bruh, like, you pot kettle pot, like that shit is just, I just, that's the part I can't get with. Like, I'm all for if she wants to forgive him for cheating, whatever. Like, I get that, but nah, man, not the way you going about it. Like, that's the part I don't agree with. And even still, even though all the ways I feel about him, this is the difference between me and him, and I'll sum it up like this. Even all the ways I feel about him, all the content he's given us to make it very easy for us to shit on him, like tear him down, I still struggle doing that because he's another black man.
I don't.
Right.
I feel you.
But that's my point. Like, I'm doing it, right? And I'm speaking my truth, but I still struggle with a piece of me because it's like,
so let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question, Bill. So where's the line in the sand for you? Because I'm thinking of it from this sense. He is a black man. Yeah, he's a black man. You know, it's our natural responsibility to take care of each other as black men. But where does the line draw in the sand for you? Like, he's a black man putting down other black men while exploiting black women.
Right. And I'm not, this is why I'm participating, right? I'm participating. So I'm not doing it. I'm just saying, in the back of my mind, I'm still like, right? Like, why you got me doing this? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I get to answer your question, where you draw the line in the sand. I don't know. I don't know that the feeling would ever be removed, right? Like, because it's like this. Like, here's the difference. Maybe this will help you. Here's the difference. I'll tear his ass down, the three of us talking amongst ourselves. But this is public, right? So there's white people listening to me tear down another black man.
Yeah.
That's what's in the back of my mind. You know what I'm saying? This is more than just us talking, you know. And again, I'm still doing it, but we talk about the dichotomy, right? Like, this is where my mind goes, where it's like, we got to protect us, right? Even though, like, bro, you in the fucking wrong. Like, you are so far wrong. But and I'm still going to do it. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, yeah, but I'm tearing him down to the masses, not just Prentice and Chief. So that's where I kind of struggle. That's all.
So I have similar feelings, but I don't look at it like that, because this is exactly what he was doing to all of us, unbeknownst to us, and known to us too. You know what I'm saying? So he wasn't pointing the finger at all of us, but he was bucketing at all of us, and this is what it is. This is how these guys are.
But that's the difference between me and him, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the difference. That right there, right? That says more about him than it does about me.
I kind of feel like it's an opportunity for us as black men to kind of make a nigga a martyr. You know what I'm saying? Like, to kind of make an example out of this motherfucker. You know what I mean? To kind of
see, but that's why I struggle, Prentice, because how many more examples we need to be made out of?
Well, I think it depends on what they're doing and how detrimental is it to our culture and what we're trying to cultivate. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's detrimental to the development of black men and women, to black love. He really is, the irony. He's detrimental because I think, even though he could make some valid points in what he says, his behavior contradicts his message so hard that you now can't.
It invalidates him.
Yeah. So
that's kind of why it's baffling to me. As to, I'm not baffling because I get, you know, we flock to the negativity. We want to see the train wreck, but like, I would, like, if I did follow him, I'd be like, yeah, it's over for this cat. Unfollow immediately. None else about. But you got people chiming in because they want to take part in this fuckery.
Mm-hmm.
And probably again a bunch of low esteemed people who are looking for guidance from someone who's probably lesser than from a mental and relationship standpoint.
It's hard for me to support a black man who does not want to get better. In this sense, in this case, I don't mean in general.
Well, that's not what he said.
I'm not saying I should be supporting him.
Yeah. I'm not trying to imply that that's
no. I'm just making my point a little bit more clear. Like, I think everybody knows he's past support at this point, right? But I don't have to participate in the teardown, which I am, which I'm fine with. But I'm just saying, like, in my subconscious, I'm just like, you know, he's still, like, I'll give you an example, and I'll be very vague. There's a partnership that I have with a bunch of white people, right? And there's not a lot of black people a part of this collective. And there was thoughts on the few black people that we did have. Like, it was like a unanimous thought on the few black people that we did have. And they almost came to me to validate what they felt about that group of black people, right? Like, almost like, you know, yeah, but how do you view the rest of them, Chris? Like, how do you view the rest of them, Bell? I'm like,
I am one of them.
Exactly.
Right. All right. So, with that being said, fellas, step outside of the box. This is a therapeutic moment for us. How do we support this brother?
Go ahead, Bill.
Let's change the face.
Prentice, you said it like I was saying something, like I wasn't saying shit.
But I was about to say something that would have been counterproductive to the question.
So there's a bunch of people watching right now they're gonna watch this and be like, yo, these cats are tearing this dude down. Why aren't they offering some way to support him? How do we support this brother? If that was our intent, how do we support this dude?
Listen, man, some of the biggest lessons I ever received came in the form of an ass whooping. Like, there was nothing else that needed to be said. Sometimes you need your ass beat to learn your lesson. And I feel like in this case, the verbal thrashing that he's receiving, the memes, the mockery, is part of the consequences and part of the help if he so chooses to receive it. There's all this information that's been, all these opinions, all these directions. So just like there are women telling his wife that she needs to leave and he doesn't love her, there are a million women that she's reposting these messages that are saying, we applaud your strength in God. We applaud you standing by your husband. We applaud you here. So there are going to be people on both sides of the spectrum and in between. So I feel like he's definitely getting messages from people like, yo, stay strong. And I feel like those are the ones he's going to gravitate towards because of how he's presented himself in his response. He's gravitating towards the ones that favor his direction. You know what I'm saying? That work in his favor. So I think it just depends on how you choose to approach the situation. Because if it was one of y'all, I'm gonna be like, look, you fucking nuts. What's going on, bro? You not nah, bro. Like, if this was one of y'all, I would be like, nigga. So are you for real? You know what I'm saying? So love comes different. It comes in different forms.
But you know why I don't think we can support him yet, Chief? Because he don't think he did nothing wrong.
So I'm posing a question. I'll get back to a second, but I want to read the meme because the shit was funny. You talk about how women are supporting his wife. The shit said, I'd rather drag my bare coochie across the gravel in 103-degree weather than hold a nigga's hand on live as he tells the world he cheated on me.
I saw that shit. I saw niggas said that.
I was like, that shit is hilarious. Anyways, so okay, so if we were again, people are watching this going, yo, they tearing this brother down. Black men are supposed to stick together. What can we do to support this dude? So in my efforts to support him, Derrick Jackass, I mean Jaxn. That's what we're gonna name the episode. Derrick Jackass Jaxn. I implore you, homie, to acknowledge what you've done with all I statements. Own every piece of it. Sincerely apologize. And from this point forward, include your wife in your messages. It might as well be a dual type thing right now. She needs to be a part of your movement from this point forward. You guys need to portray this happy, loving couple. Even if that ain't the case, that's
no. That's just repeating the same bullshit. Like,
what I'm saying is, even if that's not the case, at least it presents to us like it is, because right now you have been labeled strictly full of shit.
But that's the thing. But like, why present something? But that's the whole problem. He's presenting himself as something he's not in the first place. That's why niggas is mad.
It's like, yo, be authentic. Like, you're supposed to be upset if your husband cheated on you, right?
Yeah.
Like that is a normal response, right? If you decide to stay, it's still gonna hurt, right? It's still gonna be painful, but you decide to stay, you'll get through it, right? Like, eventually. Support, like what we can do to support him. I mean, pay your taxes, bro. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. Like,
maybe I'm wired different, bro. I got very close family members, man, that and I ain't gonna specifically label any of them because it ain't nobody's business, but that I don't fuck with. They're too far removed for me to be able to serve any benefit to them. And again, I just look at, he is counterproductive to Black love in his personal life. He's not his personal life and what he presents on the net are too far apart. There's too much of a contrast for him to be a spokesperson for Black men on successful relationships with women in general, Black or not. You know what I'm saying? So why would they portray being, well, that's what they're doing right now. If you think about it, they're both on the Lord hype, and they're saying they've moved on and they've already dealt with it. So I feel like that's what they're already doing. But for some reason, unless we're incorrect, we can see all this brokenness and pain in his wife and all this insincerity in him.
In their defense, I guess from what they say, this happened about a year ago. We're just now finding out about
that's what he's saying. But the women have pictures, receipts, they have dates, they have plane tickets. He with chicks on his birthday. I mean, so if you look at Tasha K, there's the woman who released all the information, who talked to the girls. Her name is Tasha K. She's on YouTube. Yo, people are detectives now. She's lined up everything these women have told her with posts, with all this information to create a very detailed timeline exploiting this man's treacherous behavior. There's no out. You know what I'm saying? So when you got no out and your back is against the wall and you choose to make jokes and you're not even your responses have nothing to do with your wife. Like, he's not talking about his wife in these responses, bro. And that's weird to me.
He ain't talking about himself. What you mean? What you mean? Like,
I'm just saying, man, like, if I broke my wife to that extent on a national platform, my concern would be trying to salvage whatever was left out of my relationship. But to me, it sounds like he's trying to salvage his brand and his career.
It's self-preservation. That's what, that's what, when you're a narcissist, who else do you really think about?
I mean, isn't that the first rule? The first rule of survival don't mean self-preservation. You know what I'm saying? So that's what he's doing.
No, bro. Not when you marry.
Yeah,
right?
Good point.
Like what they tell you, like, it's like, nah, not when you marry. It's like, y'all a unit, right? Y'all out here looking bad like as a unit. But I got a question though. So what's the difference? And this is a devil's advocate, kind of. What's the difference between him, right? Basically, how he's built his brand, right? And where he is now. What's the difference between him and Steve Harvey? I'll explain. He wrote that book, What Women Want, right? Or What Men Want, whatever the name of it is.
Like a Man?
That book.
Think.
That's another movie, What Women Want. Yeah, Think Like a Man, right? But you know, he has a checkered past in relationships prior to that book in terms of how many times he's been divorced, how many failed relationships he's had, right? So there's hypocrisy there too. So,
yes,
I think that's
Steve Harvey's book is written after all these fuck ups, not in the midst of it, and he's not like to our knowledge.
That's fair.
This book is from all he had his whatever divorces or whatever. It's like, this is what I've learned. This is what you need to help you be where I'm at now.
That's fair.
If Steve Harvey get caught cheating right now, he in the same book as Derrick Jaxn.
Okay. And I think too, also, if we put it in context of Derrick Jaxn, one of the women were talking about how she'd be in his penthouse walking around in a thong while he was making these videos. I don't know if Steve Harvey was writing that book while a woman was doming him up. You know what I'm saying? With three chicks snorting cocaine on the table in some wild shit. You know what I'm saying? So I think you gotta look at the details and you know, like the nuances. Like it's about character, and I don't think his character is wired that way to be able to reflect on his mistakes. Instead, what he does is he talks about himself in third person all the time. The niggas he was talking about is him. He's the niggas. You know what I'm saying? Like, he really does speak in third person all the time.
Yeah,
I don't think Steve Harvey was doing it.
That's crazy.
Okay. So again, I feel like, I mean, we could drag this cat all day, but
yeah,
I feel like, again, we talked about, I guess, ways to support him. We dragged him long enough. Takeaways from this situation intertwined with your final thought.
Takeaways?
How is sitting on your spirit, and then your final thoughts about this episode.
We got to do better as a people. That's where, because you're putting me in a position where I got to shit on you, right? Like, I have to, just because it's how I feel, right, about the situation. And if we're being authentic in what we're delivering to our listeners, right, it's like, this is a form of therapy for us. So if this is on my mind, I'm gonna speak to it. It just so happens that the subject is another person, or another Black man. Like, that's the subject, right? And that in a I'm gonna use this loosely, a prominent Black man, right? Prominent in that space. That's what I'll say.
You want to get him on a podcast?
That nigga ain't doing our podcast, bro.
Hey, I would love for Derrick Jaxn to get on our podcast, but that would be great.
It would expose him to a point of intense vulnerability, and he would have to be confronted with these difficult questions.
You think for a second
he gonna sit down with some realness?
All the shit he got going on, he gonna take some time to sit down with us?
Hey, you never know. Niggas get desperate when they back against the wall.
Anybody watching, hit Derrick Jaxn up. Tell him come holler at us.
Hey, you know what? Don't do that shit. Don't hit Derrick Jaxn. I don't like that nigga, man. I don't put him on our podcast, but
no, we gonna run that podcast.
You already know he need therapy, but it'd be ironic for him to come on here not seeking therapy, man. And that's exactly what he probably do.
But no, that's like that. No bullshit. Like, he tried the God route, right? Like, according to him. So he needs some help, man. Like,
he does. You know what I think happens with a lot of us, man? I think he's gonna have to go through the spiral. And I think we've all been there where who we are is just not working anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've hit a kind of wall where functioning like this just doesn't work, and you gotta fall. You gotta hit that rock bottom, but like, I think that's the only way a narcissist of his level is gonna start to change or make those adjustments when he hits rock bottom and feels it.
I'm feeling like that's not, based on just what I'm hearing, that's not important to him. And you said something earlier, Pete, which is going to tie into my final thought, is that his hustle is more important than his character.
Yeah.
It's about the bag for him.
Put on a t-shirt.
Right. Your hustle can't be more important than your character. You got to have some integrity to stand on, man. You also stated, which I'm tying into my point because you said it, but I'm stealing it. It's our natural responsibility to take care of other Black men. So it puts us in a difficult bind right now to have this conversation about another Black man.
Not me.
But if he were the homie, he would be checked in this fashion.
If he was the homie, he wouldn't be out there like that right now.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. And that's one thing we didn't touch on. His friends.
What do you mean? Oh, you're right.
That's a good point.
We didn't even touch on that. Like his friends. Like, do you wonder? Like, is he's gonna make his own decisions as a man anyway, and obviously he's established a brand that he has to keep promoting and keep going. He's gone this far, but does he have people in his pocket like, man, you need to just shut your phone off?
Yeah,
not worry about the brand.
I don't think I disassociate. Like if he were the right hand man, if he were one of you guys, I don't think I disassociate myself with him. I think I check him and I take responsibility and I say, yo, I need to be a better friend. I've said that to Bell before.
You better friend, like you put
in terms of at least letting my partner know, get your shit together. You know what I'm saying? Or, yo, you didn't own a fucking thing, B. You gave this whole speech about what's going on, but you didn't, at one point, not one point did you apologize. You talking in third person. Nigga, you sitting in front of me, in front of these people. Tell them what it is. Like, you hold them accountable. Right then and there. You know what I'm saying? Does he have any of his homeboys doing that?
Right. And that's what I'm saying, because if he does, it's not enough to influence him to say anything differently on these videos, right? If he does. So we don't know if he does, but if he does, and he's been shared those type of sentiments, it obviously wasn't enough for it to trickle in his brain and him to articulate a portion of that within his response. So I don't know, man. I think of like support systems and support circles and his wife, man. Let me just say for like the record, I'm very concerned about his wife. They have children, bro. You know what I mean? And to see the things she says and how his infidelity has impacted her, I don't know. I kind of feel like there comes a point where you cheat so much, you're like, you know what? I'm not even going to do this to her no more. I'm going to just be done. You know what I mean? It may take you getting caught up. It may take a point of no return, but I don't understand why he don't just let her. Well, I do understand, but you would just hope that he had enough integrity to kind of just let her go. If he going to go this hard and then in his apology or in his responses, not even apologize to her publicly.
It's a lot of wishful thinking.
Yeah, it's a whole lot of
wishful thinking for somebody who showed no ounce of ownership.
So ladies, gentlemen, Black people, white people, whoever, Derrick Jaxn does not represent all Black men. He is not an advocate for Black men relationships. He is who he is, and he's been able to garner a little bit of attention and some money via spreading whatever he wants to spread. But just know he don't speak for us all. Any last things, fellas, before we close this joint?
Prioritize more than the physical, man. To all the brothers listening, man, there has to be some point in time where the physical, what women have to offer physically isn't worth what you have going on in your life, whether you're in a relationship or not. You know what I mean? Like, I think he lacks self-love, honestly. I think he lacks self-love.
Yeah.
And I think the man has established his career off of who he wishes he was. You know what I mean? I used to write poems in third person. I know what that's like because I wish I was that type of dude.
Self-love.
But I think instead of doing the work, he'd rather romanticize this image of who he is. And I think it's important for brothers to realize that there has to be more value to yourself than what women can offer you sexually.
Do you remember we said we want to talk about it? You said to write it down, but last episode I said something like show love to your kids, but by how you love on yourself and your significant other. And you just mentioned self-love, and we talked about that being something that we gotta discuss in the podcast. So we should probably make sure we get into that.
Yeah, man.
All right. So I felt like we gave him enough attention, y'all. I thought this was a good conversation. We went on both sides of the spectrum. We tried to, at least, you know what I'm saying? So there's some balance in it. Y'all, hit us up at allblackmenneedtherapy@gmail.com with questions, comments, complaints, or concerns. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. All Black Men Need Therapy. Yo, we be back next week with some.
I'm still looking for a barber in Boston.
Yeah, you heard what he said.
The Dominican homie pushed my joint back a little bit. Pause.
Yo, with that being said, do us all a favor, hug a black man today.
Do it.
And tomorrow.
Do it.
We out.
Peace.